So having said that, I've tried as best I can to take you from the beginning to the end, both chronologically and both chronologically through a deal, and also from a very basic level of what title insurance covers, all the way through the end of what happens at the closing table. I just want to spend a couple of quick minutes here to recap and to summarize some of the key things. So if you were not taking notes, or if you were taking notes as I've been speaking, you could just double check them and see that you hit all the highlights that at least I think are important. If you were not taking notes, now would be a good time for you to do so. So we began by talking about what title insurance insures, and we covered three big things. It's not everything, but it's the three biggies. First one is we want to make sure that the buyer, the person who is the beneficiary of the title insurance policy, really is the person who's vested in title. The named insured is the person who's vested in title, and that was that whole story I gave about the long-lost brother in California. Extremely important. We're looking for an unbroken chain of title from quote-unquote the beginning of time, or the beginning of this property's history, through to the date that the buyer is getting the title insurance policy at the closing. Second major thing that title insurance ensures that the property is free and clear of all liens or encumbrances. You want to make sure that when you're buying the property that you're not dealing with your seller's mortgage with a slip and fall judgment that he had against him, from parking tickets, from all sorts of things that might show up on the property. You want to be free and clear of all liens of encumbrances on the property, which now gives you the ability to sell that property at some point in the future free and clear and not having to deal with somebody's old problems. It's the second major thing that title insurance insures against. Third major one that I discussed was that you want to make sure that you have full legal use and access to the property. That's where the surveyor comes in. We get a survey done of the property, and we make sure that there's no physical impediment on the property that's physically impeding you from having full legal use and access to your property. Obviously, there's a number of ways that it can be resolved when there is an encroachment on the property. We talked about physically moving the item, the fence, whatever it might be. We talked about reducing the price, and I spent a little bit of time talking about boundary line agreements. Types of policies, just keep in mind that you have an owner's policy and a mortgage policy. There are other variations on the theme. Like I said, take my more advanced title insurance classes, and we'll get into some of those in greater detail. But the two biggies you should know: owner's policy ensures the beneficiary is the owner, you, the buyer. Mortgage lender's policy, the beneficiary is the bank. And there's some differences between what they cover. Primarily, the difference is the bank wants to make sure that they're in the first priority position or second priority position or whatever position they think they're in, and that they have the ability to foreclose upon their property if they would like to do so. We talked about ordering title, generally done by the lawyer when it comes to a purchase. We talked about the rates. We talked about the fact that the rates are statutory and that you absolutely cannot give any discounts to the rates other than the statutory discounts. We talked about the SIMO rate, simultaneous mortgage and fee policy rate, the reissue rate, the condominium bulk rate discount. Also, please remember that you're allowed to use any title company you want when you're buying condominium. You're not bound to use the title company that did the plan, that did the title search of the underlying plan. Co-op apartments, once again, not real property, no title search, no title report, no title insurance. Therefore, your client saves a lot of money, just pays a couple $100 for a judgment lien search. They're in good shape. In the vast majority of cases, in my opinion, judgment lien search is all that you need. No need to go any further. But if you decide you want to go further, there is something called co-op leasehold insurance, known by the oxymoron of co-op title insurance. It's priced at 70% of the otherwise applicable real property rate. There are some instances, situations where you may want to do it, and some of them are related to substantive legal issues. Some are purely money issues, very expensive and very inexpensive apartments